impact of armed conflicts on children around the world reached devastating and likely record levels in 2024, according to an assessment by the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF. The study, released on Friday, finds that the rights of a record number of children are being violated, including by being killed and injured, missing out of school and life-saving vaccines, and being critically malnourished. The number is only expected to grow. From Palestine to Myanmar, Haiti to Sudan, the world is experiencing the highest number of conflicts since the World War. Almost 19% of the world's children, over 473 million, now live in conflict zones, and 47.2 million have been displaced by conflict and violence. In Sudan, more than 500,000 people in 5 conflict-affected countries are estimated to be living in the most extreme food insecurity situations. Conflicts are also having devastating effect on children's access to critical health care. Around 40% of unvaccinated and under-vaccinated children live in countries that are either partially or entirely affected by conflict. These children are often the most vulnerable to disease outbreaks like measles and polio because of disruptions and lack of access to security, nutrition, and health services. By almost every measure, 2024 has been one of the worst years on record for children in conflict in UNICEF's history, both in terms of the number of children affected and the level of impact on their lives. A child growing up in a conflict zone is far more likely to be out of school, malnourished, or forced from their home, too often repeatedly, compared to a child living in places of peace. This must be new normal. We cannot allow a generation of children to become collateral damage to the world's unchecked wars.
Professor Abdullah Tayyib Muhammad Ahmed Al-Majzoub was born on June 2nd, 1921 in the village of El-Tayeb, near the west of northern Sudanese city of Ad-Damir. He grew up in well-known house of religion, the houses of Al-Majzoub, with the Sufi Shazali style famous for science and literature. so that the city of Al-Majazib and religion had a great impact on his life. His father was an education and memorized the Quran and the work as teacher in the city of Kassala, and he was familiar with Tajweed. Al-Tayyib Abdullah mentioned that his father was very loving him and very keen on his education. His father told him before his death that he was going to Europe. And his mother, Aisha Jalaluddin, was a middle education culture, and grandmother was very eloquent. He received his early education, and Al-Khalwa is a traditional Quranic school in which the Sheikh is interested with discipline, education, and caring for children, and the Tayyib says about it was part of the entity of society. His father died at a young age, and he needed help with his education, and attending free school was only done with breeding, which distinguished marks. So he was expressing his gratitude for mass marks as it attached to free education. His brother and his mother died, and he took care of his sister, so that he did not even marry their husband, and one of his two sisters died in youth in 1947. After his parents died, his uncle said he had to drop out of school and go to work in the market and trade to support himself and his family, but his grandmother refused because she believed Abdullah was and he had a future in education. He began his education at Footnote Village School, so he learned alphabets at the early age, learned to read before mastering alphabets, and he says he supported that way, that is method of solitude. This method in the sand and then write on the tablet problem, write. And they began to memorize the Al-Fatiha to grow the blessing, and then to short surahs until they memorize the Quran in the early years of book. He studied a number of famous poems in Arabic literature, such as the poem Al-Zainabiyya in Salih Abdul Qaddus, and their education at the stage was advanced. Abdullah Al-Tayyib started formal education in various schools distributed in Sudanese cities such as the city of Kassala and city of Berber and his hometown of Al-Damir. He used to read in his father's library heritage book, including the book of Al-Bayan and Al-Tabin and Al-Jahiz, the complete book of Al-Mubrad and the story of 1001 Nights, and those reading were shaped is the Farsi culture. In his early years, his teacher, Al-Hadi Abu Bakr, knew him on Taha Hussein, but his interest did not turn to Arabic language without the rest of science until stage. After completing his formal education in middle school in the city of Berber, he and his comrades were waiting for the result of their admission to Codin Memorial College in Khartoum, the Faculty of Arts now. So he informed him of his admission free of charge and graduated from it in 1942. He received his doctorate from the School of Oriental and African Study at University of London in 1950, making him the third Sudanese to receive a doctor after Mekki Shibeka and Sheikh Al-Rayah Al-Aidaros. Abdullah Tayyib worked in education study in middle school and in the School of Microcommerce. He studied at Codin Memorial College, where he studied from 1943 until 1945. which was then transformed into Khartoum University College and later became University of Khartoum. He married in Britain in 1948 to an English woman, and because she is from the colonial country, Abdullah attacked the English in front of her at their first meeting on the number of colonial crimes, and she admitted he insisted and she came with him to Sudan 1950. He lectured at the School of Oriental and African Study in London in 1950. He was appointed professor in the Department Arabic Language at the University of Khartoum and Dean of its Faculty of Arts from 1961 to 1974.
The president of the Sudanese Banks Union, Abbas Abdullah, affirmed the full support of all employees of the banking system for the efforts of the central bank and the commitment for the banks to make maximum efforts for the currency replacement plan. Therefore, the procedures for opening banks accounts for Sudanese were simplified. Surface provision windows were increased and the integration of the bank system of different banks was accelerated to facilitate intra-banks transfers. The process of replacing the currency comes after demands by economic experts to change Sudanese currency following the looting of banks and the money of a large number of citizens from their homes as a result of the war. The governor of the Central Bank of Sudan, Burai Siddiq, said that the exchange of the currency will be done by depositing categories of 1,500 pounds. The governor of the Central Bank of Sudan directed to increase the opening of expected branches in safe areas and increasing the working hours and service centers windows, in addition to strengthening human and logistical fixture and raising the level of insurance in coordination with the security committees in the states, according to what reported by SUNA, Sudan News Agency. The governor added in his meeting with commercial bank managers that this step, although it's linked to addressing the repression resulting from the widespread looting operation committed by the Rapid Support Militia, represents an important opportunity for the banking sector to recover from the effect of the war, enhance confidence in the national currency, and achieve financial inclusion. The Sudanese economy suffers from a high inflation rate, and about 90% of the monetary mass is circulated outside the banking sector system. The central bank explained that the aim of introducing the new category is to protect the national currency, stabilize its exchange rate, and confront the negative effect of the ongoing war, especially the widespread looting carried out by the rebel militia of the headquarters of the Central Bank of Sudan and the Sudan Currency Printing Company in Khartoum. He stated that what happened resulted in the spread of large quantities of currencies of unknown origin and non-compliant with technical specifications in category 500 and 1,000 pounds, which led to a clear increase in the level of cash liquidity and had a negative impact on the stability of the general level of prices.
The political parties and the national movement have played a great and major role in the country's independence after their leadership was carried out by the leaders of religious sects, which was the characteristic that distinguished the two major parties that existed at that time. Their role also went beyond political conflict to state resembling political union. The national atmosphere filled all the arena of the country, and these parties found political recovery and national unity that enabled them to perform their role successfully until the movement of achieving independence in the manner resembling political alliances. The most important political parties and movement that emerged during the period, the Sudanese Union Party, is founded in 1921 and it's considered one of the achieving self-rule for Sudan. The White Flag Association, it's founded in 1924. The association was formed by a group of Sudanese led by Ali Abdul Latif and Abdul Fadil Almaz. The Graduates Club, it was established by Sudanese graduates from school and higher institutes. The club was cultural and social gathering, but soon turned into a platform for political activity. It sought to promote national awareness and resistance to colonialism through cultural, social and political activities. It was established in the 1940s. It came as a reaction to the dominance of sectarian and religious parties on the political scene. The party sought to establish a secular republican system of government in Sudan away from religious, although it did not achieve great successes. It contributed to spreading republican and secular thought in Sudan. The Brothers Party was led by Ismail al-Azhari. At first, the party called for unity as a step toward achieving independence, but later adopted the position of full independence for Sudan. The National Unionist Party led the government that declared Sudan's independence in 1956 under the leadership of Ismail al-Azhari. The Muslim Brotherhood movement emerged in Sudan in 1940. The movement focused on Islamic advocacy and emphasizing the application of Islamic law in Sudan. It was played an important role in shaping the Islamic and political identity in Sudan and contributed to the establishment of Islamic parties later before independence. Political parties in Sudan were characterized by the diversity of their ideologies and goals as they expressed different ambitions and aspirations of Sudanese society.
Eastern Sudan is a heterogeneous community and is distinguished with unique culture. The indigenous people of Eastern Sudan are Beja, that consists of Bisharuan Amr Bani Amir Hadandoa Habub Halanga Artega Jamilab Shayab Kimilab and Hazanab. They speak two languages, Bedouit and Tigriot, besides northern tribes, western tribes, Nuba Mountains tribes, Hausa and Rashida tribes. Eastern Sudan is abound of water resources such as Kur Baraka River, Gash River, Sadiat River and Arbit River. The region has a vast agricultural land in Red Sea Gadarif Kassala states. In addition to the mining and sea resources, the Beja has strong presence in the past since the dawn of history, and they had many kingdoms in Eastern Sudan, in the medieval era. Due to this deep history, they inherited heritage which is obvious in their behaviors and lifestyle. They are fond of rural life and they depend for their own animals like camels, cows, goats. They were known for supporting early marriage and they live in harmony and social cooperation with other communities. The people in Eastern has many great characteristics like simplicity, humility and generosity. This community is peaceful, but if conflict erupted between them, they have local law called Galad. Galad means treaty. It is a way that enables tribes to solve problems easily utilizing deeply inherited wisdom. Eastern Sudan region is attractive for tourism. The tourists from different parts of the world came to see historical sites and the enticing marine life in the Red Sea. The archaeological sites in Ajig Arquit Swakin and Red Sea coasts are among the most well-known. Eastern Sudan is rich in terms of heritages, costumes and traditions. The region is a microcosm of Sudan resembling the real meaning of unity in diversity.
مرسومة لك شامة